They've been playing each other since 1898, and today at Kinnick Stadium, Wisconsin and Iowa meet again with so much on the line. The Badgers number 13 in the initial BCS standings, Iowa's 15th, and both teams have their eyes on the Big Ten Conference title. It's still relatively early in the conference schedule, but there are only two undefeated teams remaining in the Big Ten standings. Michigan State now 4-0 after their come-from-behind win earlier today. At Northwestern, Iowa's 2-0, Wisconsin 2-1. Their only loss at Michigan State. And the Spartans come here to Iowa next Saturday. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Matt Millen. We'll be joined by Heather Cox in just a moment. Delighted to have you with us for the annual battle for the Heartland Trophy. This is a border rivalry, and Wisconsin trying to go for back-to-back big wins. They had the win at home last Saturday against Ohio State, and we saw a typical Wisconsin performance, a powerful running game.
When it does, that big, powerful running game starts with a big, powerful running back in John Clay. Now, don't be deceived. Yes, he's big and powerful. He's got little guy feet. He can make you miss. And, oh, by the way, they have another guy who can help him as well. James White is a nice changeup, has great speed, can get to the outside. But all this is made possible by the offensive line. Like we said, they're big and powerful, and they're led by senior left offensive tackle Gabe Carini. What a matchup we're going to have today, Sean. You got one of the top defensive ends in all of college football in Adrian Claiborne. We're going to have a fun time watching that one.
Might be the best offensive line in the country against the best defensive line in the country. Both Karimi and Claiborne projected as first-round picks in next year's NFL draft. And when Iowa's on offense, they lean heavily on the ground game. They're a little bit depleted because of injuries and departures from the roster at running back, but Adam Robinson is carrying his share of the load.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And Adam Robinson is one angry little dog. This guy is a stud bolt. He runs very well, has great vision, and stays behind a very, very well-disciplined offensive line that's very well coached.
And the rivalry about as even as it could be. A Wisconsin win today would even the all-time record. Iowa leads 42-41-2. They've won 6 of the last 8, including last year. A 20-10 win in Madison. David Gilreath back for the opening kickoff. Wisconsin won the toss and elected to receive. He started them on their way toward their upset win last week against Ohio State when he brought back the opening kickoff 97 yards for a touchdown. Michael Meyer kicks off. Wobbly squib kick fielded on the bounce at the 9 by Gilreath, trying to go all the way across the field, and it's very well covered by Iowa, as Gilreath was chopped down near the 15-yard line by Don Schumpert. Let's go to Heather Cox.
Sean, Wisconsin's Brett Bielema not only played for Iowa, he also coached at Iowa. He's even got a Hawkeye tattoo on his calf. So no surprise when he entered the stadium, it was to a chorus of boos. He said once he gets the headset on, it's much easier. He can't hear all the heckling. Now, as for that Hawkeye tattoo that no one can stop talking about, Bielema has no shame saying, hey, it's part of who I am.
Deafening noise for his offense. Gilreath took the handoff as he came across the formation from left to right, and he's out of bounds after a 2-yard gain at the 16. Scott Tolzien, senior from Rolling Meadows, Illinois, is the starting quarterback for Wisconsin. Tremendously accurate, 71% for the season, and for his career better than 66%. He is the all-time leader in completion percentage at the University of Wisconsin. 16-4 as the starting quarterback of the Badgers, Scott Tolzien. John Clay, the running back, and he has a big hole off the left side and a first down. Out to the 28-yard line, tackled by a linebacker, Tyler Nielsen. 12-yard gain. Clay will split time with James White, Nick Toon, their best receiver. Both he and Anderson banged up a bit during the week, limited practice time, and we'll see a lot of 2 tight end sets. Lance Kendricks, one of the best tight ends in the country, and that group arguably the best offensive line in the nation, led by the left side Karimi and Moffitt, and Peter Kahn's an emerging star at center. They like to run left. They just did with great impact. Play up the middle that time for 2, stopped by Christian Ballard, part of the Iowa front 4. That is very stout, a veteran group. The headliner is Claiborne. The coaches love Klug. 2 seniors and 2 juniors up front for Iowa. Nielsen, Johnson, and Jeremiah Hunter, who's their leading tackler. are the linebackers. And in the secondary, Prater, Sash, Greenwood, and Hyde. Again, a veteran group. Outstanding safeties in Sash and Greenwood. Play again, running left. Spun back at the 34-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
Sean, you said it for the first 3 plays. They're going to run left. They have an outstanding offensive line, and they are physical. But the strength of this offensive line is on that left side. Moffitt, the guard, 74, is very good, and Karimi, the left tackle, as well. Cons, you mentioned about the center. They are going to start left, right, and go left, but inevitably, their bread and butter is coming off that left side.
James White in at running back. He's a better receiver than Clay. Under pressure, Tolzien, pump fake, and a bullet for a 1st down to the 49-yard line to Lance Kendricks. 15-yard completion to Kendricks. As we mentioned, one of the best tight ends in the country. He's their leading receiver, his 26th catch of the year.
And he is not only a receiving tight end, this guy's complete. That's what I liked about him. He runs good routes. He used to be a wide receiver. Now you're going to get this ball off. You're going to have to get Claiborne blocked. And Karimi got his hands on him, pushed him past.
First and 10, Wisconsin. A play action pass for Tolzien. Dumps it off short for Kendricks. Another good gainer to the Iowa 39-yard line, where he's chopped down by Tyler Sash. 12 more yards and another 1st down for the Badgers.
You mentioned about Scott Tolzien and the high percentage, and he makes smart throws, which means he makes good decisions. The game has slowed down for him. He understands the offense, knows where he has to go with the football, and makes very good decisions, so he's not going to take a chance.
Best pass efficiency mark in school history, most accurate passer, as we mentioned, in the history of Wisconsin football. Hands it off to the true freshman James White out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He slid ahead for 3. Carl Klug made the tackle for the Hawkeyes.
You know, as we were watching film and getting ready for this James White kept on popping up, and why he does is he is a excellent changeup for this offense. He's quick as a hiccup. He can get in and out of holes. He can change direction very well, and he can get to the corner with speed.
They've been a terrific 1-2 punch, both averaging 80 yards or more per game. White and Clay. The toss to White. Walker's out in front. And he's near another 1st down, just shy of the 30-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and a yard. Christian Ballard made the tackle for Iowa, 6-yard gain.
At the start of the show, we talked about Adrian Claiborne, the right defensive end and one of the premier defensive ends in the NCAA. And this is an excellent matchup. And what separates Claiborne has very good awareness. A lot of times you see they try to block down on him. He spun out of that to get back inside, but he can disengage, Sean, and his next 2 steps after disengaging is where he's special.
Coach Ferentz says he has rare explosiveness in his lower body, Adrian Claiborne. 3rd down and a yard. White got the 1st down before he was driven back. How much faith they have in White. In all situations, you'd expect the powerful Clay at 250 pounds in there on 3rd and short, but they gave it to White, who weighs about 195 pounds, and he got the 1st down.
Because they're all going to the same spot. They start right, they try to get the defensive flow, and then they come back to that left side where their strength and their agility is. That left side is a pretty agile group of offensive linemen.
10th play of the drive. They've had it for 5 minutes to open the game. White inside the 25, down to the 24-yard line. Tyler Sash made another tackle.
You know, Sean, Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, is not here today for the Iowa Hawkeyes, but when you watch this defense, it hasn't changed. His imprint's all over it, and you can see exactly what they're trying to do. And the one thing they try to do is try to play that front without committing a safety down. There's Phil Parker, who's taken over the play calling duties.
Although they don't publicly acknowledge that, because Kirk Ferentz doesn't want somebody taking heat if it doesn't go well, and it's not going well for them right now, not for the Iowa defense or the umpire. as John Clay got the first down, was tackled by Jeremiah Hunter, and then collided with the umpire as part of a 7-yard gain. Jim Shaw, pretty good hit on the play at the umpire position.
He needs a little string for his hat. That's about it. He's got to stick his face in there. But again, just physical offensive line play. And this Wisconsin offensive line picking up exactly where it left off a week ago against Ohio State.
An offensive line that averages 6'5 and a half, 320 pounds. They will pound on you. John Clay took it down to the 14 for a gain of 3. Troy Johnson and Tyler Sash made the tackles. And they have been an extraordinarily good red zone team. If you don't count into the game kneel downs, Brett Field and his team has scored a touchdown in their last 23 trips inside the red zone. For the year, they scored touchdowns in the red zone 81% of the time, second in the country behind only South Carolina. Whoops, Tolzien ran into John Clay. He bounced off that hit, bounced off a couple of Iowa defenders, and he's very near another first down inside the 10-yard line. The safety Brett Greenwood made the tackle. 6-yard gain. They're going to mark him short of the first down by a yard.
This is a good example of what else John Clay has, because so often you see the 250 pounds and the big thick thighs and the guy rumbling through, but he's got little guy feet like I mentioned at the top, and he can get to the edge if he has to. He's not going to make this money out there. He's going to be inside, but he can do it.
He has 34 yards rushing on this opening drive. They've covered 78 yards. Another third down. They're 2 for 2 on third down in this possession. On 3rd and 1, James White in trouble. Tyler Sash pulls him down. Back at the 16-yard line. So they bet, but the Iowa defense did not break. An 8-yard loss on a terrific play by the junior safety, Tyler Sash.
And what Sash did? Fundamentals. Read his key, saw the block down, and then replaced and came up. And when White tried to bounce it, he ran him down.
Philip Welch, 8 out of 10 this year. This will be a try of 33 yards from the right hash mark. Ryan Wickesburg, the holder. And it is good. Welch, one of the best kickers in Wisconsin history, has the Badgers on the board. Live inside. Last night, the Iowa and Wisconsin football managers competed in an annual tradition, an 8-man flag football game for the Rusty Toolbox, a tradition that began in 1991. The managers go head-to-head whenever their two football teams meet. They played last night about 10:30 in the Iowa indoor facility. The Badgers won for the second year in a row, won 19-13 last night. Joe McKillop, one of their managers, scored the winning touchdown. Iowa had won 5 in a row before Wisconsin won the last 2. And they'll have the toolbox for a couple of years, because these two teams with the Big Ten expansion will not play each other in the next 2 years. One of the negatives of Big Ten expansion. Iowa's first play, a completed pass. Ricky Stanzi to Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. An 8-yard gain. Stanzi, senior quarterback, like Scott Tolzien, very accurate, 68.5% for the year. And like Scott Tolzien, a winner. 23-5, his career record as Iowa's starting quarterback. They have a 14-mile-per-hour wind at their backs here in the first quarter. Adam Robinson, stutter step, and he got a yard. They'll need another yard for a first down. Culmer St. Jean, a linebacker, made the tackle. Robinson, the featured back, and they have very little depth behind him. Morris, an excellent blocker. Johnson-Koulianos, one of the best wide receivers in school history, with McNutt, Reisner. And up front, Reif, Vandervelde, Ferentz, Geddes, and Zuzovics. James Ferentz, the center, the son of the head coach Kirk Ferentz. Brett Morse, the fullback, with his first carry of the year for a first down. Ethan Heemer made the tackle, but it's a 6-yard gain for the Hawkeyes.
You mentioned about Brett Morris and his tough blocking, and that's what he is. I mean, that's his role, and he loves it, and they love him. He's a physical kid. He knows what he's doing, never makes mistakes. And oh, by the way, if you need to get a tough yard like right there, he'll do it.
He didn't play last week, had a bad back, sat out their 10-point win at Michigan last Saturday. Quick throw, Stanzi to Marvin McNutt, and he's pulled down by Niles Brinkley at the 43-yard line. That's a 6-yard gain. For Wisconsin on defense, J.J. Watt, the headliner, and Zegwu the other end. Buttram and Heaver, who is starting for Jordan Cahoot, in the middle. Sorensen, coming off the best game of his career last week, is their leading tackler for the year. Brinkley, Valai, Henry, and Finellis. The secondary for Wisconsin, very solid unit, 23rd in the country in total defense. Adam Robinson on second down and 3. And here it's 3-0 Wisconsin. Iowa another third down and short on its first drive of the game. Robinson, first down across midfield. Flag down as Niles Brinkley tackled him with help from Jay Valai. You mentioned he's not the biggest guy, Matt, but Adam Robinson is very tough and hard to tackle, and they had a hard time getting him on the ground, and there was a flag thrown at the end of the run for a face mask against the Badgers. 15 more. Bill Lamagnier, the veteran referee, leading this outstanding Big Ten officiating crew.
Sean, you and I had a chance the other day to sit down with Adam Robinson. What a great kid. A nice smile on his face and tough kid. But when I asked him about, you know, how big are you? What's your size? What do you weigh? He was like, 200. he kind of mumbled out the 200, but I don't know what he weighs, but his heart is worth every pound because this is one tough kid.
He's got 81 carries in their previous 3 games. Big hole there. Turns the corner inside the 5 and down inside the 2-yard line.
Well blocked on the left side, and they're able to get outside. Watch Morse. There's the hit. And then back inside, they turn the corner. Great. Ooh, almost looked like he stepped out of bounds there, Sean. See if he steps out of bounds down here a little. Can't quite see that one.
30-yard gain.
Yeah, they're gonna stop. Looks like he's gonna bring it back.
Apparently Bill Lamagny's microphone is not working. That they are going to review it, see if he stepped out prior to the 1-yard line. Dick Koenig is the replay official. That's where it looked like he might have, near the 9-yard line.
Yeah, there it is. That looks like the left side of his foot is on the white.
So they need to keep Robinson healthy, and limiting the wear and tear on Robinson is a factor for Coach Ferentz. If you're a lip reader, you know what Bill Lamagnier just said. We're told from the replay booth it was not definitive, so they're going to leave the ball at the 1-yard line. Kirk Ferentz in his 12th season as head coach at Iowa. Power formation here for the Hawkeyes. Robinson stopped at the line of scrimmage. Henry up from the secondary. And Kevin Claxton, a reserve linebacker junior from Fort Lauderdale, with a nice play.
You know, when we sat and spoke with Robinson, and we asked him, Sean, about, you know, having to carry the load and how much is too much for you. Is, you know, 30 carries, 40 carries, whatever it is. He said, you know, I don't really know what the number is. All I know is by Tuesday I'm still tired, and Wednesday I'm ready to go.
They don't hit him during the week now. They keep a red jersey on him in practice. Robinson again, touchdown Iowa.
He ran right through the tackle of Jay Valai. And Valai had a chance to stop him, Valai rather, on the goal line, had a chance to stop him. but he just lowered his pads and ran right through the tackle.
Well, the true freshman walk-on kicker, Mike Meyer, for the extra point. And it is no good. Looked like J.J. Watt deflected it at the line of scrimmage. That's the first PAT missed by Meyer this year. He was 14 for 14. A 1-yard run for Robinson, mapping a 78-yard drive for Iowa. Offensive coordinator Ken O'Keefe pushing the right buttons on that opening drive for Iowa, as the Hawkeyes score in their first possession, answering the field goal on the first possession of the game by Wisconsin. 9 plays, 7 of them runs to cover the 78 yards for Iowa. David Gilreath back for the kickoff from Mike Meyer. Nearly 2,700 career kickoff return yards for Gilreath. He's the Big Ten's all-time leader. And this is a good return. Finally spun down as he crossed the 40-yard line. 33-yard run back. And here's a look at today's Chick-fil-A drive recap. Colzine was 2 for 2 on the Wisconsin drive, and Stanzi got them started early. He was 2 for 2 on the touchdown drive by Iowa. But then they leaned heavily on the ground game. The biggest play of the drive, the 30-yard run down to the 1 by Adam Robinson. And he punched it in. His 9th rushing touchdown of the season. There's an injured Wisconsin Badger on the field, and it's Lance Kendricks, their star tight end. They've had a number of terrific tight ends in recent years, and Brett Bielema had told us this week that Kendricks, the senior from Milwaukee, is the best tight end they've had. They have 3 tight ends in the NFL right now. Bielema out on the field to check on Kendricks.
Oh, looks like somebody ran into the back of his knee, as he is not afraid to stick his face in and be physical. He runs pretty good routes. He runs well. This kid's got a bright future.
When we talked to some of the Iowa defenders, Tyler Sash, Tyler Nielsen, they said the same thing first about Kendricks. He is a physical blocker. Beyond his obvious pass catching skills, the former wide receiver. John Clay, the running back, on first down for the Badgers. And he is smothered at the line of scrimmage. Excellent penetration by Carl Klug, the senior from Caledonia, Minnesota, just across the Iowa-Minnesota border.
When they talk about Iowa defense, you talk about Claiborne, but the guy who shows up a lot is 95 Carl Klug. He is strong, he's tough, he plays with great leverage, not a real big guy, 265, 270, right around in there. He plays low all the time, plays with hands well. Technically, he should have wrestled. He's outstanding.
Klug, a typical Iowa player, was 208 pounds when he came here from a small town in Minnesota. They beefed him up to 270 in Chris Doyle's weight room. Colzine, a good pass and a catch at the midfield stripe. Isaac Anderson, the reception, good for a 9-yard gain for the senior from Minneapolis.
John, you mentioned earlier about Toon, but Anderson and Toon both. Now they're given a big cushion. He takes advantage of it, but the ball's where it has to be, down and low outside. Anderson and Toon, both these guys, they know how to come back to the football, and they'll use their bodies well.
He came up just shy of the first down, 3rd down and inches with John Clay lined up in the eye behind the fullback Brady Ewing. Clay running left, as they so often do, especially when it matters most, and he got the first down before he got whacked by Troy Johnson.
You know, it's interesting, and you mentioned it, about the size of this offensive line. They average 320, 320, something like that.
6'5.5", 320.
And this defensive line of Iowa is not very big. I mean, the inside guys are, and you can take a good look at their weights across the board, but the Iowa defensive guys, not real big on the inside. In fact, Claiborne is the biggest guy at 285.
Wisconsin O-line, big and experienced, 120 combined career starts. Colzine, play action fake, has a man open, caught. Jacob Pedersen, the backup tight end, in there for Kendricks. Out of bounds at the 30-yard line with another first down. Tyler Sash, the coverage and the tackle, 18 yards on the completion to Pedersen, a redshirt freshman.
You have to be impressed with Tolzien because he knows exactly where he has to go with the ball right away. And you see that little fake to just move the backer and make him bite up underneath coverage, and the ball is thrown exactly where it has to be.
How fast did that first quarter go by? Iowa had the ball once, and this is the second possession of the game for Wisconsin. Ball control offenses on display, mirror images, and it's 6-3 Hawkeyes after one. Back at Kinnick Stadium, where the Iowa Hawkeyes are 16-2 since the start of the 2008 season. They lead Wisconsin 6-3 after one fast-moving quarter. Wisconsin's on the move again. 1st and 10 at the Iowa 30. Wisconsin had the ball for more than 10 minutes in the first quarter. Tolzien a lot of time, dumps it off short. Jake Byrne, the junior from Rogers, Arkansas, with his first career catch in 32 career games.
He's on a roll.
Yes, he is. Let's look at our Pacific Life game summary. Iowa had just one drive for those 63 yards. Wisconsin, in the middle of its second possession, they have controlled the clock. Neither quarterback has missed on a pass. Tolzien now 5 for 5. James White, the running back. Again running left. Knocked down after a 1-yard gain. Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Guys, Wisconsin's tight end Lance Kendricks has a right ankle sprain. Lots of grimacing as he retaped that ankle, trying to keep the swelling down. They actually taped it over the shoe so they didn't have to take off the original tape job. Now, I heard him telling head athletic trainer Gary Johnson that he rolled it to the outside. He's been testing it on the ground. Now he's on the bike trying to keep it warm. He's going to see if he's strong enough to return to the game, guys.
Milton Nagy has come into the ball game. He's ordinarily a guard and center, but he's wearing 89 and is a tight end right now, trying to block for Clay to no avail. On 1st and 10, he got dropped for a loss. Christian Ballard broke through that talented offensive line.
And the one spot that they are talking about Wisconsin are trying to get to is they're trying to get to this left side. And if you're going to be successful on this, and you're the left defensive end, you've got to play the point. And that's exactly what Claiborne did. He stuffed them at the line of scrimmage so they could allow the defense to play off his point. Ballard makes the play to the inside.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Swung wide to White, and he's tripped up by Micah Hyde, and then a flag comes down. Hyde, the sophomore corner from Fostoria, Ohio. And White is not getting up. Right out of St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale. Elam has had success recruiting there. They typically have an outstanding high school football program.
Question has been deemed legal. No foul.
I looked on, I believe it would have been Karimi who made a block, trying to make the block. And Adrian Claiborne saw that play and they left him go, and he came back and hustling to the ball. It looks like, oh, that just looks ugly.
Ooh. Ooh.
I don't think legs were meant to bend that way. You know, a week ago, Sean, I was watching Adrian Claiborne against a good offensive time. They were going after it pretty good. And Adrian Claiborne, in the middle of the game, got a little tired. It was against Michigan. And Taylor Lewan was just a freshman. And he was getting, and with the pace of the game, he got tired and they pulled him. And talking to him just the other day, he wasn't thrilled with that. He's come out here today. He's playing with a big motor.
Monty Ball didn't play at all last week against Ohio State. Is in at running back now for Wisconsin. Shoveled to him by Tolzien. Terrific call and a first down.
Great call by Paul Chryst, the offensive coordinator, and Tolzien plays it to perfection. You want him to bite right there. You're drawing the defender to you to open that inside lane. He pitches it back underneath, and he's off to a first down.
Lance Kendricks enjoyed it as he tries to get that ankle loose. 14 yards on the reception by Monty Ball, sophomore. Here's the 10th play of this drive for Wisconsin. Marched into the red zone on their first drive, got stopped now to settle for a field goal.
Wide open.
Tolzien, after a great fake, throws a touchdown pass to Brady Ewing, the fullback.
Two outstanding calls back to back by Paul Chryst, the offensive coordinator. You've been pounding. You get inside that red zone, so you give him the play action. Everything looks the same. You just slip the fullback out into the flat, and it's 6 quick.
And Philip Welch will attempt the extra point. 10-play, 59-yard drive. The kick is good, and Wisconsin's back on top. The second touchdown reception of the year. The fullback Brady Ewing. 10-6 Badgers, early second quarter. Right now they're both just outside the top 12. The handoff to Paul Cheney. He's also a track athlete. And Iowa flags down. Everybody in the stands saw it. It's going to be a face mask against Lewis and Zegwu. And that's a huge break for Iowa because that play was dead.
Not only did Zegwu have it.
Personal foul, face mask, 2, defense, 15 yards, back on the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
Well, they said 2, that would be Jay Valai, but it looked to us like it was in Zegwu, and it was.
Yeah, well, Valai was right there to. That thing was dead from the start. Blake Sorensen was holding the outside, and Zegwu was there, and Valai was coming down inside. Instead, it's another first down.
Brent Bielema is saying this week in Zegwu at the other end of the line from Watt needs to be a little bit more productive, and he's likely to see more and more action coming his way as teams run away from J.J. Watt. The officials are conferring again.
You know, Sean, J.J. Watt has been, in this first half, has been very quiet. Has not done very, the Iowa offensive line has blocked him pretty well. Watt, one of those guys who uses his hands very well, and he's got a good motor, but he's been kind of quiet today.
Had the great game last week against Ohio State. Dave Doran, the defensive coordinator, saying he's playing his position about as well as anybody Doran has seen play it at the college level. Where the officials with a very long conversation, apparently about
penalty enforcement was from the end of the run. The run ended 1 yard beyond the line. First down.
We'll move the ball 1 yard ahead. And this Wisconsin defense now trying to protect the lead late in the first half. Clock running. Minute 43 to go, and Robinson was stopped for a 1 yard gain by Culmer St. Jean and Jay Valai. And Iowa's going to get quickly back to the line of scrimmage without a huddle. 2 timeouts left for the Hawkeyes and a minute and a half to go. Stanzi might have been near the line of scrimmage as he threw it. It's caught by Colin Sandeman. First down. Clock will stop to move the chains.
He had to get on his horse because J.J. Watt got free. And he beat the tackle that time and gave pressure, forced Stanzi to make a quick decision, and a good decision it was.
He was just behind the line of scrimmage. 14-yard gain. They go quickly again. Diving effort, but Alan Reisner couldn't catch it. And again, Stanzi hasn't been particularly accurate here in the first half with some men open.
Yeah, he's made the good decisions. He just, like you said, he hasn't been pinpoint accurate. And of course, there's been a couple times, you know, they've dropped the ball on him.
He threw 15 interceptions last year. That number's down to 2 this year. Done a great job of film study. Much better decision making that comes with additional experience. Stanzi throws it into coverage, and Johnson Koulianos is out of bounds as he catches the ball with excellent coverage all the way by Niles Brinkley.
Brinkley right on top of him, a straight man. He's going to run just a 9 just down the left sideline. Now this is not a good route. See, he cannot, there's no room to throw this ball. And Brinkley defends it well and does a good job of using the sideline as the extra defender.
And the Wisconsin cheerleader was yet another defender over there. 3rd down and 10. Iowa hoping another drive doesn't bog down. Stanzi has a man open, caught inside the 5. Marvin McNutt makes it 1st and goal at the 4 for Iowa with Antonio Finellis in coverage. 16-yard gain.
And Finellis had good coverage, Sean, but McNutt does a nice job of coming back to the ball. Watch the end of the route. Comes back to the ball, makes the catch, gets out of bounds. All that made possible again by the protection of that Iowa offensive line.
2 of the best red zone teams in the country haven't been up to their usual standards today. Stanzi a long time at the line. Play clock at 5. Short drop, and he threw it away. Looking for McNutt. Finellis had the coverage.
And smart by Stanzi. I thought he was going to go up top. He had man-to-man with the field on the left side with Johnson Koulianos. And that Brinkley, number 29, he's been drawing the coverage on him the whole time, and he's been having some pretty good coverage out there.
Kirk Ferentz wants a timeout after he had a word or two with his offensive coordinator Ken O'Keefe. 55 seconds to go. Ricky Stanzi and the Hawkeyes. 2nd and goal from the 4.
Johnson Koulianos on the top side.
Handed off to Robinson. J.J. Watt tackled him around the ankles after a 2-yard gain. 3rd and goal from the 2. Hawkeyes not really in any hurry here. They have plenty of time, and they have a timeout. The crowd's groaning as if they want to see them moving more quickly. Reisner, the tight end, motioned and then reset, and he is open in the flat. Touchdown, Iowa.
Johnson Koulianos was not the intended receiver, but he was the intended picker and did a great job of picking off the defender on the inside, which allowed that throw to the flat for 6.
Officially a 3-yard touchdown pass to the tight end Reisner. And will they execute effectively in the kicking game? That time they did. Snap, hold, and kick good. The kick by Mike Meyer. That got a mock cheer from the crowd. And Iowa leads 13-10. We're back in Iowa City where it has started to rain. Just about ready for the start of the second half between Iowa and Wisconsin. The Hawkeyes lead by 3. And the number that jumps out of me, Matt, from the rest of those stats, the Iowa defense held Wisconsin to just 48 yards rushing in the first half.
And what's really impressive about that, Sean, is 46 of them came in the first quarter. In the second quarter, only 2. And so I think what happened defensively, they got a little more comfortable, and I think Adrian Claiborne and Klug inside start to kind of take away that left side of the offensive line of Wisconsin. That's the first thing. And then I think the second thing was this. You're not going to get a lot of chances here in terms of possessions. But when they had the holding call on Klug and turned it into the 1st and 20, that was big.
Wisconsin kicks off to begin the second half. Line drive kick by Welch that goes through the end zone. So Iowa will begin 1st and 10 from its own 20-yard line as we look at the Pacific Life game summary. Holzine impressive in the first half, 10 out of 13, including a touchdown pass. Iowa had a point after touchdown blocked, and then a problem with the snap and hold on a field goal. But late in the half, the final minute of the half, Alan Reisner, a 3-yard pass from Ricky Stanzi. And Iowa leads 13-10 as the second half begins, and the third quarter has been the Hawkeyes' quarter this year. 37-0 in their favor in the third quarter. Ricky Stanzi.
All kinds of time.
And that's been the case through most of this day. Throws short for Alan Reisner. About a 3-yard gain. Here's Heather Cox.
Well, Sean, Brett Bielema echoed exactly what Matt Millen just said, which is take advantage of every offensive opportunity because they know they're not going to get very many. Bielema also frustrated. He said we'd had some very uncharacteristic penalties, the holding and the 2 face masks. When I asked him if there's any sense of a letdown and if he's happy with the emotion, he said, I'm seeing the emotion, I'm seeing the sense of urgency. We will improve in the second half.
Well, they came out ready to play, marched right down the field with their opening possession. Had to settle for the field goal. Here's Adam Robinson out to the 27-yard line, tackled by Aaron Henry. 4-yard gain for Robinson, so he's up to 80 yards rushing now on 14 carries.
And the other thing that Coach Bielema has to be aware of is they are not getting any pressure in the pass game. J.J. Watt has been quiet. The defensive line has not generated any kind of pressure. And Stanzi's had all kinds of time to be able to see the whole field. Not just a half the field throw, but the whole field.
Third down and 3. Play action fake by Stanzi. Thrown short to Brett Morse. He lunged for the 30. Are they going to give him that mark? Kevin Claxton made the tackle. Ooh, looked like a pretty generous spot. And they're going to give him the first down. And Claxton doesn't like it. And I assume most of the people watching in the great state of Wisconsin don't like this spot. That's a bad spot.
Where the ball is. Yeah, right here. It's where the ball is when the knee touches. And that was a very generous spot. If I'm Iowa, I try to snap this as quick as I can.
Well, they should, because replay could stop it. Yep, and they waited too long. And they're going to have to punt now.
That was poor awareness by the Iowa sideline.
Might be a challenge.
Timeout, Wisconsin. First team timeout. I'm sorry, Wisconsin.
I think Brett Bielema called the timeout to get them to try to take a longer look at this.
The previous play regarding the first down is under review.
You know, if they just tune in, we'd have told them a lot sooner. Now watch, it's where the knee is. There's the ball, there's the knee, and there's the short. They ended up giving him a pretty healthy spot. I believe this one will be pulled back.
That's where it should be. About a yard short of where they actually marked it. Had a good timeout by Brett Bielema, because it seems like the extra time led to a lengthier review of it. They're reviewing it all the time upstairs. It's hard to believe they didn't stop it from the booth, though, because that was pretty obviously a terrible spot.
Yeah, it looked like it from here.
And I think that's Brett Bielema's point. You know, why should I have to waste the timeout when, if this process was working correctly, first of all, the ball would have been spotted correctly, and secondly, the replay booth would have corrected it without my using the timeout.
Replay had buzzed the officials on the field just as the Wisconsin coach was calling the timeout. There is no Wisconsin timeout. Following the review, the ball will be placed just over the 29-yard line. Fourth down.
Well, these Iowa fans don't like any part of that.
And he said over, and now they're going to have to move it because they have it under. Now they went over. But that's the right call.
Yes, it is. In the final analysis. So Ryan Donahue will punt to David Gilreath. Donahue punting into the wind. Punted once for 50 yards in the first half. This is a good kick. Gilreath watches it go over his shoulders and all the way into the end zone. 71-yard punt. Here's a look at our marquee matchup that we talked about at the beginning of the game. Adrian Claiborne working on Gabe Karimi, All-American candidates, both of them.
Well, he's had, when it's been 3rd and long, and he's able to get around, he's been able to get the edge on him. But there's a couple series there that Claiborne just had great awareness on the inside. Karimi in the run game has been pretty solid. It's in that pass game where Claiborne has had a couple of wins.
Here's Wisconsin on offense for the first time in the second half, trailing 10-3. John Clay stacked up by the defense after a 3-yard gain. Jeremiah Hunter leading the defense for the Hawkeyes. They mark it at the 22. And a gain of 2. We haven't seen James White after he was injured in the first half. Bill Nagy's come on at center at the moment for Peter Kahns.
They've had a bunch of guys banged up here today.
Kahns was questionable coming into the game with an ankle injury. Nagy has played center and guard and tight end, as we've seen today. Tolzien throws it sideways for Clay with some running room, and he's shoved out by Tyler Nielsen. They want a late hit on the far sideline on Tyler Sash.
Well, it looks like Clay went in there. He went in there hard into that sideline. Remember, this sideline is very, very tight. It's a very tight. There's not a lot of room. So he gets the push, and that's fine. And he goes in. The bench is close. It's really tight on that side.
Yeah, the stands are very close to the sideline here, so there's very little room for the sideline personnel, players, coaches, equipment folks, etc. That's how close they are.
He's back up again.
I think it looked worse. This field turf's now a little slick because of the rain that started to fall, and it looked like he slipped after the push. Monty Ball's in there where ordinarily it would be James White. Short gain, about 2, out to the 33-yard line for Ball, who was highly touted coming out of high school as a true freshman last year for Wisconsin. The running back coach, John Settle, compared him to Christian Okoye.
John Settle is a heck of a coach. Christian Okoye is a tall order, let me tell you, because that's a big, powerful man. John Settle was a Pro Bowler for the Atlanta Falcons.
Tolzien throws far side. Jake Byrne makes the catch. Didn't have any in 31 career games prior to today. He's had 2 today. Among the injuries today, Lance Kendricks injured an ankle in the first half. James White banged up. They're without Peter Kahns right now, so it was Byrne there at tight end making the catch. Gain of 3, 3rd down and 5. Tolzien throws, caught at midfield. First down, David Gilreath to the Iowa 45. Ridden out by Tyler Sash. 19 yards, and they convert on 3rd down and 5.
We're working on Micah Hyde on the inside, but then it's Prater on the outside, and they went man underneath, and they kept their safeties over the top. But because he had time to throw, he's able to beat Prater to the outside and picks up a big first down. This Gilreath is exciting. This kid's a big play waiting to happen.
The numbers will be bigger. He missed a couple of games earlier this season with a concussion. They eased him back into it when he returned. Tolzien to the far side. Gilreath again. Matter of fact, he missed 2 games. And then when he came back, they weren't having him run back kicks. And Gilreath was eager to get back in there. He thought the coaches were trying to protect him, thought maybe he'd be afraid to go back there and run back kicks. And he told them, hey, I don't even remember the hit on the punt return, so let me go back out there and return kicks. He did last week, and he brought the opening kickoff back for the touchdown against Ohio State. The pass gain 4, 2nd and 6, just shy of the 40-yard line. They spread the field with receivers, and Tolzien's on target again for a first down to Monty Ball. Jeremiah Hunter had the coverage. Good to the 33-yard line. 7 yards, first down.
And a nice job by the offensive line of protection. You have 5 men out. So the departure from the Wisconsin playbook, they've been pounding. Like you said at halftime, they only had 48 yards. Now they're spreading the field and letting Tolzien take his pick.
Tolzien, a very efficient passer, 15th in the country in pass efficiency. Very accurate, and again today, 15 out of 18, and on the money again when the ball came out, but I think they're going to give him the catch, and a flag thrown at the end of the play. Ball the reception, they're going to call that complete for a first down. Jeremiah Hunter pulled the ball out, and then there was a flag thrown.
And Hunter is slow in getting up. In fact, he's not getting up. He's still down there on the sideline. Ball, this is, you know, they're throwing back underneath.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 28. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
Sean Prater, the cornerback, called for the personal foul. First down and 10 from the 11 for Wisconsin. John Clay breaks tackles and is tripped down by Tyler Sash inside the 4-yard line. 7-yard gain.
Just power football inside, and again, not like they're going to Claiborne's limping off because he got cut from the backside, and that was not good. But it's just power football. They're not going to try to trick anybody, but watch the backside.
Oh.
That's wrong. Let me tell you something. That'd be a major fight right there. Do not get on the back of somebody's knees.
Brady Ewing, the fullback, did it. 2nd and 3. They could get a first down at the 1. Clay.
John Clay in the
got inside the 4, and that's all. Another long drive. That was the 10th play of the drive. In the first half, Wisconsin had 5 possessions. They averaged 5 minutes and 55 seconds per possession and averaged over 7 plays per drive. Iowa held the ball on average for more than 4 minutes on their 4 possessions. Been a game of very long drives.
That's why you're not going to get a lot of shots. This is what Heather was talking about with Coach Bielema.
So often these days, these spread offenses score quickly. These two teams not designed that way. Clay did not get the first down. Stacked up by Lance Tillison, who came in for Hunter. Tillison hasn't played a lot. He had help from Sash and Nielsen, and they stacked up Clay. 4th down, and Brett Bielema looks like he's going to go for it, with Welch, the kicker, still on the sideline.
Well, that was a man tackle by Tillison. That was just man on man, and he put all 220 pounds into him and stopped Clay, and they got a little help from his friends.
Wisconsin just 1 out of 3 on 4th down this year. 4th and goal from the 1. Passing up the chance to tie, trying for the lead. John Clay, straight ahead, touchdown Wisconsin.
If you're supposed to be big and physical, then you prove it. Bielema believes in that offensive line and John Clay, and so they just do what they do best. They're just going to the left. It's an OT, little counter action, and it's just power inside.
And now Welch on to add the extra point. Another long drive, 12 plays, 80 yards in nearly 6.5 minutes. And the kick is good, and the lead is 4 for Wisconsin. 17-13. 6.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter in Iowa City. Once the visiting locker room here at Kinnick Stadium. Pink, the brainchild of the legendary coach Hayden Fry, for whom Brett Bielema played. Fry was a psychology major at Baylor University. Once read that pink had a calming effect on people, so when he got here, he ordered the visiting locker rooms be painted pink, homing to calm the team's opponents. And everything in there is pink. The urinals are pink, the sinks are pink. There's even the telephone in there that's pink.
It's just enough to make you mad.
Hasn't seemed to calm down the Badgers. They've taken the lead by 4 as Welch kicks off. Returnable for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. He brought one back for a touchdown last year at Ohio State, memorably, in that battle for the Big Ten title. They jumped on the pile as if the ball might have been out, but he's down at the 32-yard line. Tackled by Devin Smith. Here's Heather Cox.
You guys are talking about that pink locker room. There are certainly some Wisconsin ties to that locker room. Brett Bielema actually played and coached here during the entire time he was at Iowa. He said he never went into the pink visitors locker room. The first time was as a head coach for Wisconsin. And also John Chatema, who's now an associate AD for Wisconsin, helped paint that pink locker room when he was a student assistant here.
And Robinson stopped at the line of scrimmage. Blake Sorensen, Jay Valai, Mike Taylor all in on the play for the Badgers. No gain on the play.
You know, and you watch this Badger defense, there's one guy who keeps showing up, and that's Blake Sorensen. This kid has great instincts. Sean, he's always around the football, always around the ball, and knows how to make a play. Last week against Ohio State, I thought he had an outstanding game.
And Dave Doran, the defensive coordinator, said it was the best game of his career. He's a senior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Stanzi's throw a little bit short, and it's caught by Keenan Davis, ruled incomplete now. Davis wants to know why. And another throw from Stanzi that was just a little bit off target for an open receiver.
He certainly had an open, he had a throwing lane, he had time to throw, but you're right, and that was just not a well thrown ball.
It's 3rd down and 10. We've seen flashes of lightning off to our right, but we're told by the game management folks here that it is 15 miles away and moving away. To get to within 10 miles of the stadium, they'll have to stop play. Stanzi throws over the middle, caught very near the first down. It looks like Colin Sandeman has it, and does, at the 42-yard line on the completion of the senior from Bettendorf, Iowa. Good for 11.
Well, just a nice job by Adam Robinson, because they come with a blitz and everything's picked up. Good protection all the way around, and Sandeman can sit down. Remember, Sandeman earlier in the game had the nice pick route that allowed for the touchdown. This time he comes up with a big first down.
Play action pass by Stanzi. Throws short for Robinson. He's pulled down again by Blake Sorensen. 3-yard gain. Looks like Kendricks is done for the day, back on the sideline in his warm-ups.
Well, I hope he heals faster. That's a very good player. Lance Kendricks is one of those guys he's just turning into what he's going to be. He's going to be a really good one.
Certainly a leading candidate for the John Mackey Award as the best tight end in the country. I mentioned they have 3 tight ends in the NFL, and Bielema says Kendricks is the best of the bunch. Robinson carries. And of course, Iowa's done a great job turning out tight ends. They have 5 players in the NFL. The 4, check that, in the NFL among tight end cores in the National Football League. Of course, bad news yesterday. Dallas Clark's going to miss the rest of the year for the Colts. He'll need surgery on his wrist.
I'll tell you, the guy who's really having a great year for the Chiefs, Tony Moeaki, is having just a phenomenal year for a rookie.
There's almost one more on that list. Jason Posiak was on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad but was cut. He's now in the UFL. Stanzi throws near side, first down. They convert on 3rd and 4. Marvin McNutt gets 7 to the 45-yard line of the Badgers.
And McNutt is just taking what the defense is giving him. They're going to give him a little bit of a cushion. So he runs the corner back, and then just turns a nice throw and a nice pickup and a first down. They keep the chains going.
Four catches today for McNutt, junior from St. Louis. He had 4 last week in their win at Michigan. Wisconsin has taken the lead on a touchdown by John Clay. They scored now a touchdown in 13 of the last 14 games. Stanzi trying to answer. The man is wide open. Caught! Darrell Johnson Koulianos. Touchdown in the lead for Iowa.
It all started with the protection, Sean. It's been the story all game long. This offensive line has given him all kinds of time, and it was 6 quick.
Another important extra point is still Mike Meyer. Well, you can see even there was a little hesitation, making sure the snap and hold were good, but he made it. It's a 3-point lead. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, a 45-yard touchdown reception. Brinkley fell down. Iowa has the lead. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos with some congratulations from Sean Green, the running back of the New York Jets, former Iowa star, who's here on the Jets bye week. 45-yard touchdown reception by Johnson-Koulianos, his 15th career touchdown catch. He broke Tim White's receiving yardage mark at Iowa last week up in Michigan. He had 4 catches and 3 touchdowns. And he's now 1 reception away from tying Kevin Casper with 157 career catches. Both White and Casper had nice careers in the NFL.
What a good route he ran to get that score.
Gilreath started at the 2 and did not reach the 20.
That's a heck of a tackle.
Hyde. He'll be playing against his brother next week. Brother Marcus is defensive back at Michigan State. They'll go head to head here next Saturday.
I want you to watch on the outside. You're going to see exactly what Brinkley does. His eyes are back inside because it's a zone, but he's feeling the receiver here, and that's what he bites on. Now there's one thing to bite, but he bit and he chewed for a long time, and that's what Koulianos takes to his advantage and turns it into 6.
Iowa was offside on the kickoff, so they're going to do it again.
Special teams have not been one of the areas that Coach Ferentz has been happy with, both the kicking part of it and coverage. He said he went back to work and they're going to get things straightened out. This is going to be another one that he's going to show his team over and over again.
Johnson-Koulianos, by the way, is on his way to leading Iowa in receiving for the 4th year in a row, and nobody's ever done that in the history of this program. So you'd have to think he's making the claim he's the greatest wide receiver they've ever had here.
You know what I really like about the kid? Now we talked about him, how he's got the personality and effervescence and all of that stuff, but that kid in the weight room is a beast. You know, for a wide receiver, he'll throw up over 400 pounds. And we're talking not just, you know, with the arch.
He can lift 400 pounds.
Yeah, that's some heavy weight.
6'1", 200, they list him. Meyer kicks it off after the walk-off for the penalty. And Wisconsin will get much better field position. Gilreath might take it. He just was tripped up at the 50-yard line. And it was the kicker, Meyer, who prevented a touchdown. Yeah, he struggled last week against that Texas defense. There's John Clay powering into Iowa territory to the 35-yard line. They picked up 31 yards on that re-kick, and Wisconsin takes advantage of the good field position with a 16-yard Clay run.
And you're right. He just ran right through Klug, and it looks like you just ticked him off because now he's just mauling people. Here's Gilreath. That is a touchdown saving tackle, because if he gets past the kicker, he was gone.
Wisconsin down by 3. They'll have to lean heavily on Clay, you would think. It goes up the middle for a couple. Broderick Binns made the tackle. They're without their leading receiver and terrific blocking tight end Lance Kendricks. Without their leading wide receiver Nick Toon. Without James White, who's in street clothes on the sideline, who alternates at tailback with John Clay. They're without Peter Kahns, their starting center right now. But they keep marching down the field.
And remember, John Clay was shaken up on the sideline, and now he's back in. Looks like he hasn't missed a beat.
Clay is 70 yards rushing today. He's rushed for 100 or more in 12 of the last 13. Tolzien throws it short. First down. Good run after the catch by Isaac Anderson. Inside the 5. and out of bounds at the 3-yard line.
Just sitting down in the zone. Remember, the hole's in the zone. He's going to sit back underneath. Sits right down. And then it's just he uses his leg, run after the catch, and he can scoot.
There's good genes. His dad, Melvin, played at the University of Minnesota and in the NFL, wide receiver for Kansas City and Pittsburgh. And his mom, Lisa, was a 4-year member of the track team at the University of Minnesota.
He showed some of mom's speed right there in that run after.
First and goal. Wisconsin poised to reclaim the lead, and they do on another touchdown by John Clay.
Both times they've needed the power touchdown, they go right back inside. Moffitt blocks down, Karimi blocks down, and then it's just pulling of the two tight ends who come around, and it's power inside. You know what's so impressive about this is everybody in the stadium, as well as the defense, knows where it's going, and they still are successful.
Well, that offside penalty on the first kickoff was huge. Gave Wisconsin the second chance to run one back. They took advantage of the much shorter field, and Clay scored again. Extra point good by Welch. It's a 4-point lead for Wisconsin. If you joined us late, Iowa has missed an extra point in this game. That could be huge. Tonight on ABC, Saturday Night Football features a battle between two undefeated teams. The top-ranked Oklahoma Sooners head to Columbia to take on the 11th-ranked Missouri Tigers. That's tonight, Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 Eastern Time on ABC. Oklahoma, the #1 team in the initial BCS standings. The #1 team has gone on to win the national championship only twice. Missouri 6-0 for just the 3rd time in the last 50 years, but a lot of people wondering how good they really are. They played a pretty soft schedule up to now. They'll get a real test tonight in Columbia on homecoming.
I want you to take a good look at John Clay's head. He has such great respect for his offensive line. He shaved all the numbers of his offensive linemen into the sides of his noggin. And he knows where his bread is buttered. Every time he's got to get the big tough yard, he goes right back inside behind that O-line.
I mentioned he has scored a touchdown in 12 of the last 13 games. Johnson Koulianos will down it. The only game in that stretch he didn't score a touchdown was at Michigan State, and it was a loss. Here's a look at the BCS standings, brought to you by Tostitos. Oregon #2. With all due respect to the Sooners, I think have a terrific team. I think Oregon has deserved the right to be #1 right now.
I don't know about all that stuff, but I know about that little running back, Michael James. He is exciting.
I think they've been the most impressive, and again on Thursday night, the way they hammered a UCLA team. They've gone to Texas and won, although that doesn't seem like such a big deal again after today's result.
Yeah, congratulations to Iowa State.
And down to Texas and won. Adam Robinson with a flag down. He's down after a gain of a couple. Pat Muldoon, redshirt freshman, backup defensive end in there for Brett Bielema's defense. Legal procedure against the Hawkeyes.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield. 5 yards previous spot. Repeat first down.
Another one of those penalties that is a mental penalty, which will drive the coaching staff nuts.
Final minute of the 3rd quarter. 1st and 15. Leaned more heavily on the pass here in the 2nd half. Stanzi design rollout after the fake. Good throw and catch. 26-yard line, maybe even the 27 for Johnson Koulianos, and that's his 5th catch. That ties him with Kevin Casper, 157 career receptions, the all-time Iowa mark. And he just did get the toes down, it appeared.
Oh yeah, very well done. Look at that. Inside, good catch.
They're going to review it.
It's under review.
He dotted his eyes, it looked like, from here, didn't it?
Well, looked like 1 foot down inbounds, the other on the line. Then the question becomes which one was down first, because if your first foot's down inbounds, you're all right. If it stands, he has tied Kevin Casper's record. Kevin Casper not recently retiring from the NFL, working in the speed training area in Illinois. The 2nd and 3.
Following the review, the play stands as called.
They did not say the ruling was confirmed, so I think that means it just wasn't conclusive evidence. And it did not appear to be conclusive. So a gain of 12. And now he's tied with Casper for the all-time receptions mark here at Iowa. Might be the last play of the 3rd quarter. These two heavyweights in a back-and-forth battle today. Alan Reisner swung down after he got a first down to the 36. Pulled down by Lewis and Zegwu. 9 yards. End of the 3rd quarter. Iowa led at the half. But now it's Wisconsin by 4. Back and forth game here in Iowa City, moving to the 4th quarter. Sean McDonough, Nat Millen, Heather Cox. Iowa led 13-10 at the half. Each team led twice in the first half. Wisconsin outscored Iowa 14-7 in the 3rd quarter. Badgers by 4. Iowa's ball. 1st and 10 from its own 36. Ricky Stanzi, straight bag, throws down the near sideline, out of bounds for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos. Crowd wants a flag on Niles Brinkley, but that was not catchable. We saw that signal from the field judge, Henry Zaborniak.
It's a good non-call. Again, Koulianos, he's got to give his quarterback an area to throw into. You can't just cut to the sideline. You've got to give him some room. On the other hand, Brinkley does a good job of funneling him into the sideline, so there is no space. Koulianos has to fight that defender.
They sneak in the run with Adam Robinson, and it's a good one. They haven't gone to him very often here in the 2nd half. They got 9, tackled by Ethan Heamer. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Going to come back inside with a little trap action. In fact, there's nobody there to trap. They blocked it so well. And then Robinson just took the void and picked up 9.
Missed his 4th carry of the 2nd half after he rushed 13 times in the 1st half. He's nearing a 100-yard game. He's had 4 of them in their first 6 games. On 3rd and short, it's the fullback, Brett Morse, who converts again to the 50-yard line. Bo Allen made the tackle. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. The big story at the moment, the miscues for Iowa. They had a PAT blocked after their first touchdown in the 1st quarter. And they had problems with the snap and hold on a short field goal try in the 2nd quarter. They could use those 4 points if they had them, obviously. It would be a tie game. Math teachers proud all over America. Stanzi steps up, has some running room. About a 7-yard gain as he runs out at the 43-yard line, chased out by Niles Brinkley. Stanzi's a good athlete. He was recruited by some Division I basketball programs out of high school in Mentor, Ohio.
What's impressed me about Stanzi here today is his decision making. Doesn't try to force anything. He takes what's there, and in that instance, what was there was, hey, use your legs and get it, and he did.
Stanzi was not particularly highly recruited as a quarterback. They beat MAC schools to get him, most notably Miami of Ohio. Robinson on 2nd and 3. Back to the line, and that's all. Stopped by Calmer St. Jean and J.J. Watt.
You want to see a safety drop down. Jay Valai comes down, and Morse, the fullback, just is face to face. Bang. Ooh, I like that. Nicely done. Morse not afraid to throw in there, but Valai bent him backwards. Forced everything back inside, did his job.
Well, Morris missed last week with a bad back. I don't think that made his back feel any better. Iowa's 8 for 11 on third down today. Third down and 2. Under 13 minutes to go. Wisconsin leads by 4. Stanzi nicely designed and executed. McNutt has the first down. They're a good third down team. Better than 48% for the year coming in, and way above 50% today.
Yeah, this is a part of everybody's playbook, and it came out of Bill Walsh, and it's just a sprint right, and they're going to throw that thing. You have the option to be able to throw it out there or back underneath. You saw the fullback coming under. And if that's not there, the third option is for the quarterback to run it.
On 1st and 10, Stanzi has another short completion to Reisner. He got away from Valai and Sorensen. And got a first down. Down to the 24-yard line.
Remember a year ago, this Iowa offense loved to use Tony Moyaki in much the same way. And Reisner today having himself a good game. He's taking the underneath stuff, and then watch him. Be a little nifty down the field to pick up the first down.
He's a senior out of Marion, Iowa. 54 players on this team from the state of Iowa. Largely a homegrown roster. At the 11-yard gain, it's back to the run with Adam Robinson. Took a hit and stayed on his feet and was very near another first down. Sorensen gave him a pop. During the TV break, they reviewed the spot of the ball. They gave Iowa another yard or so. Moved the ball to the 13-yard line, and it's a first down. Put him in second and short. Instead, it's a new set of downs. 1st and 10 from the 13. After the Wisconsin timeout. Trying to stop this Iowa drive. The 11th play is upcoming. Adam Robinson. Oh, looked like he might have tripped over the pile there. Ethan Heemer in the center. James Ferentz were battling, and it looked like he tripped over them. 6-yard gain.
Vanderveld right there, 63 with a nice block, and Ferentz inside 53. It's just power. It's the same thing, Sean. It's really, we're watching the same thing. It's a mirror of this Wisconsin, but a little smaller line.
2nd and 4. Looks like the big guard Vanderveld, he got in the way of Robinson. They put the fullback Morris back in to lead the way for Robinson. And he's down at the 6. Still about 3 yards short of the first down. Interesting to see if Kirk Ferentz thinks it's 4-down territory if they don't pick it up here on 3rd and about 3.
Well, that Claxton's had himself a pretty active game back there today. And Sorensen's always right in the middle of everything. But those linebackers, they've been active because this defensive line has been blocked pretty well by the Iowa offensive line.
3 receivers now, and Robinson the lone back. They faked it to Robinson. Man open! Touchdown, Marvin McNutt!
Remember earlier when Wisconsin pounded the football, got down inside the 5, went with play action for the score? Mirror image. Same design, same result.
Now Meyer makes the extra point that puts the lead back to 3. Marvin McNutt, a 6-yard touchdown reception. His 11th career touchdown catch, 3rd of his junior season. And Mike Meyer kicks off. Good kick with the wind behind him. David Gilreath a yard or 2 deep in the end zone. Surrounded by Hawkeyes and taken down at the 16-yard line by Don Nordman. Backup wide receiver.
Let's go back to that touchdown. This looks like they're locked up in man coverage, and Henry has McNutt. And I want you to watch the eyes right there of Henry. See the eyes go back inside to the quarterback. When you're in man, key the man. His eyes went back in the backfield. McNutt is free, and it's 6 points.
And a good throw by Stans. He had to have just the right loft and velocity on it. And now this sellout crowd trying to make life miserable for their neighbors from Wisconsin. Scott Tolzien threw it up for grabs, and it is intercepted by Brett Greenwood.
Tolzien had been making good decisions right up until that point. He thought he had Isaac Anderson in the back, but Brett Greenwood read the eyes of Tolzien flawlessly and makes the play. Tolzien has the underneath receiver, the easy one. Instead, he goes beyond. Greenwood makes the play, and it's a big and first turnover of the game.
First turnover for either team in a back-and-forth game like this. Each team has led 4 times. One key mistake could be fatal. Line of scrimmage, the 26. Robinson chopped down by Aaron Henry. The interception by Greenwood, the 9th of his career, 2nd this year.
You see Brett Greenwood, he was already in motion. He saw Anderson coming across, and using his good geometry in his mind, figured out the angle and hit it perfectly.
He's big with the interceptions in their big rivalry games. We mentioned 9 career interceptions. 4 of them are against Iowa State, one of their 3 trophy games. That's for the Cy Hawk Trophy, which Iowa won earlier this year. They play Wisconsin for the Heartland Trophy, and of course they play Minnesota for Floyd of Rosedale. And they've won 10 straight trophy games, trying to do it again. Adam Robinson will give them forward progress to the 23. That's what's up for grabs here today, the Heartland Trophy. The winner will have it for a few years. They won't play the next 2 seasons. Stanzi on 3rd down, throws incomplete, intended for Darrell Johnson-Koulianos, and Niles Brinkley had good coverage. Brinkley's been busy today. An interesting decision here for Kirk Ferentz. With all the struggles of the kicking game, he's still going to send Mike Meyer out there. Be the longest field goal of his brief career. His longest attempt prior to today was 37 yards, and that was his only miss. So this would be a career-long 41-yarder from the left hash mark. We had problems with snaps and holds today. And that's why Coach Ferentz is one of the best in the country. Trust in your players, and they delivered. Good snap by Andrew Schultz, the good hold by Ryan Donahue, and a beautiful kick by Mike Meyer. The lead is 6 for the Hawks. Doesn't look like your ordinary family there either in the Hawkeye garb. One of the great venues in college football. 2 proud programs putting on a great show here today in Iowa City. Iowa with its largest lead of the game now, 6 points, but it could have been more. Credit Wisconsin's defense with a big stand after the Greenwood interception for Iowa gave them the ball at the Wisconsin 26. Right into that field goal. Myers kickoff over the head of Gilreath, and we check in with Heather Cox.
We've been talking all day about the intriguing matchup between Wisconsin's O-line and the Iowa D-line and the strength of each team. Well, right now, Iowa defensive line coach Rick Kaczynski doesn't think they're winning the battle. Before they got that interception, they preached to the line, we're better than this, make plays. Adrian Claiborne finished with a lot of shoulder thumping, trying to fire up his line. We'll see if they accept the challenge here.
Heather, what he's talking about is that run game, because the Wisconsin offensive line has run the football effectively here in the second half against that defensive line of Iowa. Let's see if they can hike their drawers up here and put some stop into it.
.8:35 to go. Tolzien gave it the play, and he's pulled down by a true freshman backup linebacker, James Morris, number 44. Statistically, Iowa's done a great job against the Wisconsin rush today. Wisconsin with 86 yards rushing, way below their season average of 233 yards, which was 12th best in the country and second in the Big Ten behind Michigan. The Badgers without their two leading receivers, Lance Kendricks and Nick Toon, without play sidekick James White, without their center Peter Kahns. Adrian Claiborne drops Clay at the line of scrimmage.
Looks like Morris was right in the middle of that for the second play. The true freshman did not want to let him get outside. You couldn't do that. And then Claiborne just comes down the side, but good team defense. That's what Heather was talking about with Coach Kaczynski. Five wides.
On 3rd down and 7, bad snap. Tolzien threw it up for grabs, caught by Isaac Anderson. What a play by Tolzien, but they did not get the first down. Got it to the 26, 4 yards short of the markers. And with 7 minutes to go, Brett Bielema will punt.
Sean, remember, this is a different center. Kahns is out. Kahns is out and Nagy's in, and it was a bad snap.
Didn't look like Tolzien was ready for it either. He was gesturing to his left when Nagy snapped it. Nagy does have center experience, but that noise seemed to be a factor. The crowd really turned it up at the right time here, these last two defensive stands for Iowa.
What a great play by Tolzien to get that ball off, Sean. You're 100% right.
And Norman, it's a fake. Great call and great execution. Not a Hawkeye in sight. And Nortman slid down at the 43-yard line. First down for Brett Bielema and the Badgers. 17-yard gain.
That is just fantastic. Bielema makes the call, but keep your eyes on this. All the backs are turned. They've been doing this all game long. Iowa's been sending just 2 people to the punt on the outside. The middle has been open. This time they take advantage of it for a huge first down.
And Ryan Groy, number 79, who's also a fullback, leading the way if necessary, but Norman was untouched. John Clay pulls his way out to the 46, a gain of 3 before he was bounced back by James Morris and Sean Prater. Well, those Wisconsin special teams were a liability at the beginning of the year. Had problems on kickoff coverage. And in the last couple of weeks, some big plays for Brett Bielema. The kickoff return to open the game last week for a touchdown that set the tone against Ohio State. And now Nortman. Second and 7. Toss sweep for Clay. 2 yards. Micah Hyde held his ground. Tyler Nielsen in on the stop for the Hawkeyes. 2-yard gain, 5 minutes to go. Fourth quarter, a 6-point lead for Iowa and Wisconsin with a key 3rd down at midfield.
And this is where Iowa can take advantage. They need to be able to get their pass rush. Now, if you're a great player, and this is a big game, this is when Adrian Claiborne has to come up big. And if you're Gabe Karimi, you got to get him blocked.
5 receivers, no backs for Tolzien out of the gun. Hit as he threw, and he got it off for a first down. Jacob Pedersen, the backup tight end. Ordinarily, they play a lot of 2 tight end sets. But he's more of a target now with Kendricks out of the ball game, and that's a 13-yard gain and a key 3rd down conversion.
Well, Claiborne came with an exit, and he came down inside and got a great push. But what a nice throw by Tolzien, under pressure, right on the money.
Claiborne out of the game at the moment. They're going to stick with the spread formation and the shotgun for Tolzien. Ooh, he had some running room if he hit Gilreath in stride. It was just a bit too far ahead of him with Nielsen in coverage, but trailing the play, and that is a linebacker on a very speedy wide receiver.
Yeah, and they're playing a zone, and Gilreath is going to run through that zone. And if he catches that, Sean, he's off to the races. And I'll tell you the next thing that's going to happen. Sooner or later, they're going to run a quarterback draw because the middle of that defense is wide open. When they spread with 5 wides, there's nobody in the middle.
Each yard Wisconsin picks up that blocked extra point that Iowa had knocked down by J.J. Watt earlier in the game looks bigger and bigger. 6-point margin. Tolzien running room to the left. Hyde closed quickly and shoved him down. They're going to spot it at the 34-yard line. And here comes another big third down. 3rd down and 5 again.
You win on 3rd down. Whoever wins 3rd downs generally wins the game.
They've been a terrific 3rd down team, in part because of the great play calling of Paul Christ. 6 for 11 today, 52% for the year. 3rd and a long 4. Look out from behind. Tolzien stepped up. It got deflected and falls incomplete. Boy, Tolzien had a great sense of the rush coming from behind him. A la Tom Brady, that knack for the one step in the right direction to get clear. But they knocked down his throw. And here's 4th down, and the Badgers will go for it.
And who he was feeling was Adrian Claiborne. And that's the time. That's the time for great players to step up. He did it on 3rd. Let's see what happens on 4th.
Another 2 for 2 on 4th down today. Converted on the fake punt a moment ago. Came in 1 for 3. Tolzien throws, caught! 1st down, Wisconsin. Monty Ball, the running back, with a sliding catch at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10.
At one point, you're going to have to. They're taking advantage inside, and this is Nielsen again on the running back. You're going to have to try to get a better cover guy inside, because that's a mismatch.
Of course, we talked about injuries. Jeff Tarpinian, a key linebacker for Iowa, been out with a neck and shoulder stinger. That's a big loss. Under 3 minutes to go. Play powering straight ahead inside the 20. Tackled by Lance Tillison.
This is where the offensive line has been fantastic. And this is what the Iowa coach Kaczynski was talking about for his defensive line. Now, this is the type of game where you got to buckle it up. They knew that all game long. He said they had to be better than they were. As you heard Heather tell us, that's where they have to be better.
Great mix of the run and pass on this critical drive for Wisconsin. 2nd and 2, trailing by 6. Clay dragging tacklers. He has a 1st down. Mike Daniels finally got him on the ground, but it's at the 16-yard line. And I think if you're Iowa, Matt, you almost have to start thinking about timeouts here, because the clock is much more of a factor for you than it is for Wisconsin. They have all kinds of time. The happy scenario for Brett Bielema here would be score with as little time left as possible. Kick the extra point to win.
Yeah, and it's a precarious position because they still have to score. They need 6.
Monty Ball, the legs churning. He got down to the 8-yard line. Tyler Sash made the tackle. 8-yard run. Under a minute and a half to go. Well, we talked at the top of the telecast, perhaps the best offensive line in the country against the best defensive line in the country. And those matchups critically important now. 15th play of a memorable drive. 2nd and 2. Ball is the 1st down. Still fighting. Lunging for the goal line. They're going to mark him just short.
How did Binns come up with the ball? Moffitt with a nice pull. He just follows him around and then just power. Keeps his legs going. They try to strip it out of there. Oh, that's 6.
Could be a touchdown.
That looked like 6.
I think if you're Iowa, you might be better off that it is a touchdown right now and save you a few seconds, because it seems to be the inevitable conclusion of this drive that it's going to be a touchdown the way it's going. They announced the previous plays being reviewed. The crowd cheered. I think they think it's a takeaway by the defense, but believe they're looking at it to see if it was a touchdown. It's led 4 times today.
Following the review, the original runner broke the plane for a touchdown. Clock operator, put 1:06 on the game clock. 1:06.
That could be a blessing for Iowa.
I think so, because Wisconsin was marching down the field, chewing up all the time. Now Iowa will have 1:06 left and 3 timeouts, and they'll need a field goal to win the game.
Come on, let's go.
But of course, first a critical extra point from Philip Welch, who's missed only 3 out of 124 in his career. Good snap and hold, and Wisconsin has the lead with 1:06 to go. What a drive for Wisconsin. 15 plays, 80 yards, and the huge play was the fake punt that got them 17 and kept them moving. They took 7.5 minutes off the clock. Touchdown. This game has gone from extraordinary to unbelievable in recent moments. 2 fourth down conversions on a 15-play drive for Wisconsin. All the touchdown. 7.5 minutes off the clock. And now Iowa trails by 1. Darrell Johnson-Koulianos back for the kickoff from Philip Welch. Difference in the game, a blocked extra point. Johnson-Koulianos stopped at the 25-yard line. Jacob Pedersen, Manessa Garner in on the stop. So here comes Ricky Stanzi. Now bear in mind the field goal would win it, but they have major kicking questions that have been on display here today. They have a true freshman walk-on kicker in Mike Meyer, who kicked his career long earlier in this game, a 40-yarder, but he did kick a 56-yard field goal in high school. They have 3 timeouts, so they'll be patient. They start with Robinson, who goes out of bounds after an 8-yard gain.
Plenty of time here. Keep in mind, every time they get a first down, they'd stop the clock. Plus you have your 3 timeouts. So Stanzi can afford to be patient and see the field and take what that defense is giving him. Usually right now, you're going to give the underneath up. And so he'll need to be patient and take that.
3 receivers, Robinson the back. With Stanzi out of the gun. No rush. An errant throw in the direction of Johnson-Koulianos. Antonio Finelis had the coverage.
Well, he likes Koulianos, and he'll eyeball him a bunch. It's good discipline underneath coverage. They did a nice job of holding underneath, so nobody will have to force a throw over the top. That was Devin Smith, number 10.
He's 8 out of 10 third down passing as a team. They're 10 out of 14 on third downs today. Third down about 1.5 yards. They give it to Robinson, and he has the first down. The clock will stop for a moment to move the chains with 46 seconds and 3 timeouts left for Iowa. Ethan Heamer, Blake Sorensen the tackle. A 41-yard field goal. Officially, they called it 40 earlier. The longest attempt of the year by Meyer. There's a run after the catch. Alan Reisner heading to the sideline. Smart move. He doesn't have breakaway speed, so he got as much as he could to the 49 and stopped the clock with a 13-yard gain. Now with 3 timeouts, man, they can go to the middle of the field and start using those timeouts.
Absolutely. They need about, if we're basing it off the last field goal of 41 yards, he needs about 25 more yards to be able to get into where coach thinks he can make it.
Daniel Murray was their kicker last year, but he's had a leg injury.
Plenty of time to throw. Good protection.
It's the 4-man rush, and they put pressure on Stanzi, who's tripped up by J.J. Watt. Back at the 38, you have to use one of your timeouts now, and they do.
So a quiet day the whole game for Watt. And there he comes up with a huge play, Sean.
First sack of the day for Wisconsin. They put very little pressure on Stanzi today. And it looked like they rushed 4 initially and still got to him. That's just a 4-man rush.
And again, it was good protection. That thing came because of the coverage down the field. He had to pull it down. Was going to buy time by getting out to his right. And Watt came up with a big play.
Well, this is a huge game in the Big Ten race. Iowa started the day as one of 2 undefeated teams in conference play with Michigan State. Michigan State rallied from 17-0 down today at Northwestern to win. They're 4-0. Wisconsin was hoping for some help today from Northwestern because their one conference loss was at Michigan State. Michigan State comes here to Iowa next Saturday.
Sean, right now, they don't have to try to get it back all at once. You have time. He's got to get it back in parts. He's got 20 yards to go, 2nd and 21. He's got 3 downs to be able to get this first.
And they're running out of time, and now Wisconsin's going to use its last timeout. Senior quarterback with plenty of experience, Ricky Stanzi from his own 38. Pressured again, steps up into the pocket, throws a little bit high for Johnson Koulianos. They want a flag that they're not going to get.
There's no flag on that one. A better throw would have been a completion, but he missed him. Koulianos gets down inside. They're sitting in zones. He's trying to widen the safety. A better throw makes that.
He had a hand on him before the ball got there. And you're right. Several times today, Stanzi just a little bit off. As that ball was there just as Johnson Koulianos was turning. 3rd down and 21. Lots of time to throw this time. Over the middle and caught by Marvin McNutt. He's a yard short of the first down. 20-yard gain. 13 seconds to go. Timeout Iowa. 4th down and 1 upcoming.
That is a heck of a catch. Back, and if he has to, he can just stop the ball, clock the ball.
Okay. Stanzi keeps, gets the first down.
Get back up quick.
And that's a good play just to line up quickly and spike it again.
Yeah, he's going to clock it.
Because they're all right in the same positions, essentially. This is great coaching.
What are they doing?
Timeout, Iowa.
Why they call it? That's not great coaching.
That made no sense.
No, they were all positioned to spike it. Timeout so much more important than the down that they would have used spiking it. 1st and 10. Stanzi dumps it off. He needs to get out of bounds. Robinson does not. Now they don't have the timeout, and the time is going to run out. Wisconsin wins.
Stanzi needed to know that if he got in trouble, he should throw it out of bounds. Mental error and a coaching error, in my opinion, Sean. I'm with you on that one. That was a poor timeout.
Totally unnecessary. They're positioned to spike it. They could have used the timeout right there when Robinson got tackled in bounds and then take their shot at a field goal of a little bit over 50 yards. He's going to go down near the 35-yard line. Would have been a 52-yarder. He made a longer one than that in high school. Mike Taylor made the critical tackle in bounds. Kirk Ferentz has established himself as one of the best coaches in the country, but I think they'll be kicking themselves for burning that last time out. When the play that they ran to get the 4th down conversion put them in perfect position for a quick spike after the quarterback sneak. And there goes the trophy, the Heartland Trophy, which will stay in Madison for a few years. They snap a 2-game losing streak against Iowa. They won't play the next 2 years, so that trophy will be in Madison for a while. Here's Heather.
Coach, congratulations on the win. What gave you the confidence with the fake punt, 4th and 4, deep in your territory to set up that winning drive?
Well, it's something we saw on film. Looked good all week, and the only thing that scared me, a team ran it on Thursday night and looked pretty good, so I thought they might catch on to it, but I can't say enough about our guys. Really banged up coming in this game. They got a bye week. They've earned it.
Now, a lot of talk this week about Wisconsin being the best O-line against Iowa's best D-line. How did you gain an advantage there?
Well, I didn't see a 31-30 game. I guarantee you that. But give all the credit in the world. Iowa's a great team. Kirk's an unbelievable coach. a lot of respect for over there, but I couldn't be prouder of our guys.
And how emotional is this when knowing that it came on the field that you played on and you coached on?
You know, I say all the time, it's about our players. It really is. It means a lot for me to come back and drive down, brought a lot back, a lot of great memories, but I'm so happy with the way our guys persevered. It's pretty cool.
Coach, congratulations, back-to-back great wins. Go enjoy it. Sean.
Their first back-to-back victories over ranked opponents in consecutive weeks since 2004. They've taken down Ohio State and Iowa in back-to-back weeks, and they're right back in the thick of that Big Ten race.